This video is designed to help you with your 16th checkoff, Exercise 111. In Exercise 111, we've added two new notes. And the first note can be found as the very first note of the exercise, and that note is low F. It's the third ledger line down underneath the staff. And if you look at Exercise 103, it has a fingering for it right there for you. But I'll show you on here as well. If you remember the fingering for low G, all of the fingers down except for the pinkies. For low F, we're just going to add this right hand pinky in the bottom, and we're going to hit it right on this key right here. If you look at it from the side, it's this one, the one closest to the bell, but also on the second level of keys. Okay? So if you're unsure which key that is, you can always turn your clarinet to where the keys are facing you, and then it'll make it easier for you to tell with the fingering chart or with this video which one you're supposed to use. Okay, so that's low F. And then the second fingering, the second note that we've added is low E. That's the lowest note on the clarinet. And if you look at Exercise 107, it actually shows the fingering for that one. With E, you have the F fingering down, and then you're going to add your left hand pinky onto this key right here, and that'll get you the sound for E. Be careful when you're pressing it down. A lot of times people accidentally hit this key right here, which is the C sharp key, or they might hit one of these instead, but you want it to be the key that's the closest to the holes. Okay, and that'll get you the low E sound. Now, a lot of times when people play this, they have a hard time getting the notes out. And the way to double check and make sure that you can get those low notes out is to always check your fingers. So I recommend practicing in front of a mirror, or at least double checking and looking and making sure that the pads are the ones actually covering the holes. Because as soon as you start using your pinkies, sometimes your hands can start moving in weird positions. So you want to make sure your pinkies are hovering over and they're comfortable, and that your fingers are covering the holes. If for some reason, though, you're having trouble getting the low F or the low E out, what I recommend is starting on a note that you feel comfortable with. Let's say C. Playing C and then walking each finger down until you get to that low F to where it feels comfortable, and doing it a few times until it feels more comfortable. Then once you've got the low F figured out, then start adding this pinky for the low E. And then that should help you get more comfortable with those low notes. So now that we've explored those low notes, let's look through this exercise. We have a flat in our key signature. You always want to check the key signature at the beginning. And then we have dynamics that trade off every two measures. So it starts forte, loud, then it goes to piano in measure 3 and measure 4, and then back to forte for 2 measures, and then the last 2 measures are soft piano. So now I'm going to start actually at the end with this piece, looking through it, because the last 2 measures involve a lot of the low notes. So if you look, let's check out the last measure itself. You have 2 low E's followed by a low F. So it's going to sound like this. And I always want to make sure that I'm tapping my foot anytime I'm practicing through this so that I feel comfortable with the rhythm. Now let's look at the measure before. So we're looking at the last 2 measures of the piece. So I'm going to finger through it at a time so that I feel comfortable with the notes and the fingerings. G, A, B flat, G, A, G, F, E, E, F. Okay, I feel comfortable with the fingerings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my metronome to 70, and I'm going to finger through it with my metronome. Last 2 measures. G, A, B flat, G, A, G, F, E, E, F. And if that's too fast for you, set it to a lower tempo than 70. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Now I'm just going to try to play the last two measures so that I feel comfortable with them. Okay, so I feel comfortable with that, but once again, if you had a hard time getting the notes out when you got down to the F and the E, remember to walk your fingers down to get to them. Now I'm going to look at the rest of the piece, and I notice that the first two measures of the first line are identical to the first two measures of the second line, which means if I feel comfortable with the first two measures of the first line, I shouldn't really have to practice through the second line. But I'm going to walk you through it anyway with notes, saying it on note names at 70. Here we go. F, F, G, A, B flat, C, A, B flat, G, 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 A, B flat, G, A, F, 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 G, A, B flat, C, A, B flat, G, G, A, B flat, G, A, G, F, E, E, F. And I tried to keep my fingers close and hovering. Be careful not to have your fingers hiding back here because then that can cause issues with trying to bring them out. Always have them hovering, just kind of like you're drinking tea and you have your pinky up. Okay, here we go. Time to play. Watching the dynamics. And that's exercise 111 played at quarter note equals 70.